For 8 years, Coach Jerry Holston was the heart of Maple Grove, Ohio. He coached Little League. He coached live. His team won 6 state championships in a town of 2,000 people. There was just one problem. Not a single one of his best players actually lived there. Maple Grove, Ohio. Population 2,047. 1 stoplight. 1 diner. 1 Little League field. For decades, Maple Grove Little League was bad. Historically bad. They hadn't won a regional game since 1987. Then, in 2017, Jerry Holston, a lifelong resident, former minor league washout, beloved hardware store employee, volunteered to coach the 11U team. That first year, state champions. The next year, state champions. And the year after that. And the year after that. By 2023, Maple Grove Little League had become a phenomenon. ESPN did a 3-minute feature. A children's book was published, The Little Town That Could. Coach Jerry was given the keys to the city. A mural of him was painted on the side of the ice cream shop. Every kid in town wanted to play for him. Every parent in town trusted him. He ran free Saturday clinics. He paid for cleats out of his own pocket for kids whose parents couldn't afford them. He was, by all visible accounts, the best man in Maple Grove. Spring 2024. Maple Grove is gearing up for their 7th consecutive championship run. Their star pitcher is an 11-year-old named TJ Brooks, a kid with a fastball that clocks at 68 miles per hour, insane for that age. TJ appeared on the roster in 2023, seemingly out of nowhere. Nobody remembered him from the earlier grades. Nobody knew his family. When asked, Coach Jerry always said, "Oh, TJ? His family just moved here last year. Quiet folks. Good people." And nobody questioned it, because nobody questions Coach Jerry. But across the county line, 47 miles away in the town of Crossroads, a Little League commissioner named Linda Bauer is looking at her 11U roster and frowning. A kid named TJ Brooks was supposed to play for Crossroads this season. She'd personally handed his dad the registration packet in February. Then Kyle Brooks had called and said, "Sorry, we're pulling him. Family moved." Linda wished them well. Now it's May. She's at a Tractor Supply in a town she never visits, Maple Grove, buying chicken feed. She walks past the Little League field on her way back to her car. She stops dead. TJ Brooks is pitching for the Maple Grove Tigers. She pulls out her phone, opens Google Maps, and types in the Brooks family's registration address on the Crossroads paperwork she still has in her email. The address is a vacant lot. Linda drives home that night and opens her laptop at 10 p.m. She pulls up Crossroads Little League registration records from the past 8 years. Then she cross-references them with Maple Grove's public roster archives. By 2 a.m., she has a spreadsheet. She finds 23 kids over 8 seasons who had either registered to play in Crossroads and suddenly moved before the season, registered to play in neighboring towns, Elmwood, Dawson Mills, Fort Run, and suddenly moved, and then appeared on Maple Grove's roster using Maple Grove addresses that didn't exist. Linda drives the addresses one by one that weekend. One is an abandoned barn. One is a pond. One is the parking lot of a Dollar General. One is Coach Jerry Holston's own house. He had 3 unrelated sons registered at his address over 6 seasons. Linda pieces it together. Coach Jerry wasn't just a good coach. He was a talent scout, finding the best young players in the entire region, befriending their dads at youth tournaments, hunting lessons, feed stores. He'd tell them, you know, your kid could do big things. Big things take big opportunities. And Maple Grove. Maple Grove wins. The parents went along. Why wouldn't they? Their kid gets a state championship jersey. Their kid gets on ESPN. Their kid gets scouts. All it costs is a lie on a registration form. Linda stares at her spreadsheet. She knows what she has to do. She also knows what the town of Maple Grove will do to her when she does it. Linda doesn't go to the police first. She goes to the Ohio Little League District Office. An investigation opens quietly in June. The district pulls registration forms, utility bills, school enrollment records. Every single one of Jerry's imported players had fake documentation, forged utility bills, fake school transfers. 3 of the Maple Grove addresses were owned by Jerry himself under an LLC. In July, the story breaks in the Columbus Dispatch. Maple Grove does not take it well. At first, the town rallies around Jerry. A "We Stand with Coach" banner goes up at the diner. Linda's car gets keyed in the Tractor Supply parking lot. She starts getting anonymous phone calls. But then the evidence gets too loud to ignore. The 6 state championship trophies, stripped, vacated back to 1987. The ESPN feature, retracted. The children's book, pulled from shelves. The mural on the ice cream shop, painted over in a single night by an anonymous local. And then, the worst moment. The actual Maple Grove kids, the ones who'd spent 8 years on the bench, riding buses to games they'd never play in, watching kids from other towns wear their town's jersey and get all the glory. One by one, they began to come forward. A kid named Ethan, now 17, told reporters, "I rode that bus 60 games in a row and never batted once. Coach Jerry told me I was team spirit. I quit baseball at 14. I thought I just wasn't good enough." Another kid, "He knew my mum couldn't afford cleats. He bought me cleats so I'd stay on the roster, so I'd be a warm body, so we'd make the state roster cutoff. I thought he loved me. He was just using my jersey number." Coach Jerry was arrested in September 2024 and charged with 23 counts of fraud, 6 counts of document forgery, and 1 count of endangering the welfare of minors for filing false records. He pled guilty to all charges to avoid trial. At sentencing, the prosecutor read statements from 14 former Maple Grove kids who'd been benched for 8 seasons so imported ringers could play. One statement ended with, "You didn't just steal championships. You stole the one thing I ever thought I was good at." Jerry was sentenced to 4 years in prison and $180,000 in restitution. But here's where the story gets stranger. When investigators searched Jerry's house, they found his famous trophy wall, 6 state championship trophies, dozens of plaques, framed newspaper clippings. But behind the wall, Tucked into a hidden compartment in the drywall, they found something else: a scrapbook. Inside, photos of every single imported kid Jerry had recruited. Written under each photo, in neat handwriting, was a line: under T.J. Brooks, the son I should have had. Under another, better arm than I ever had at 11. Under another, would have made the pros if I'd gotten to him younger. Detectives realized something dark. Jerry Holston hadn't cheated to win championships. He'd cheated to collect the childhood he felt he'd been cheated out of. Every imported kid was a version of the minor league career he never had. Every state championship was a version of his dad showing up to a game for the first time. Every son I should have had was a wound he was still bleeding from 40 years later. The Maple Grove kids, the real ones, they were just the jersey numbers, the background, the benched extras in a fantasy that had nothing to do with them. Maple Grove Little League was forced to disband for 2 full seasons while the state rebuilt the program. Linda Bauer received an anonymous threatening letter every month for a year. She still coaches in Crossroads. T.J. Brooks eventually made varsity at his real hometown's high school. He told a reporter, "I didn't know any of it was fake. I just wanted to play for someone who looked at me like I was special." Coach Jerry's mural was painted over. The new mural reads, "Every kid deserves to play." Maple Grove Little League came back 2 years later. The championship banners were gone. The trophy wall was empty. The coach was in prison. But for the first time in a decade, every kid on the field actually lived in the town. Some people don't coach kids to help them grow. They coach them to rewrite a childhood that was never theirs to fix.